allowed to believe in God? If so, how would you prevent any religious or holy wars, considering that religion has caused more wars than any other factor in history? Will religion be outlawed, or will people be able to practice their religion in an RBE? Okay, speaking overall, nothing will happen to religion. In an RBE, people will be free to practice whatever religion they like. The difference is that when certain religious values impinge upon the personal freedoms of other people, then that will not be tolerated. For example, we have no problem whatsoever with someone being a Christian. In fact, if there's a large enough demand for it, then churches will be built. However, when a Christian feels they have the right to tell a homosexual that they are an abomination purely for the fact of their sexual orientation, then that is an issue that will need to be addressed, and hence an action that will not be permitted. Religion should only extend to the boundaries of one's own freedom. When your faith begins to impinge upon the freedoms of others, that's when religion becomes a problem. Like George Carlin said when he suggested a commandment of his own, "Thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself." And that's the point. Excuse me. Now that is the altruism that we extend to other people. It's very much like the idea of drinking alcohol, or the use of drugs in certain social circles. Some will and some won't. However, nothing is forced. Just because a certain person doesn't wish to drink alcohol, why should they be forced to, just because everyone else is? This is where personal freedom out-trumps peer pressure. Now, this overall value in itself will by no means immediately stomp out religious hatred or bigotry or alike. However, it is a step in the right direction. People will in time learn and see that religious belief is an individual thing. And there is nothing wrong with sharing that with other people, but the idea of sharing is entirely contingent upon the recipient's will to receive. Otherwise, it's deemed as forcing your opinion on an unwilling person, or preaching. Now, sometimes I get accused of preaching, but I try and point out that it's not so much about what I'm doing and what I'm saying, but it's also because the recipient is unwilling. I try and do what I can to curb my tendencies with that sort of thing, and not try and get too intense. But that's an aside. Now, it is with this value that religion's aggressive and oppressive mentalities. Sorry, I'm a bit convoluted today. Oppressive mentalities will fade, and along with it, I dare say, a lot of faiths themselves will also fade. You see, an RBE is an environment where only positive actions and positive intentions are met with positive reinforcements. Anything negative is not reinforced. And as we have seen through history, any action that is not reinforced, rewarded, or perpetuated will eventually fade. Now, we do not wish to outlaw religion or anything like that, since after the transition to an RBE, there will be no need for laws. I mean, but then again, what's the point in outlawing religion? If you outlaw something, it just goes deeper underground. That doesn't solve anything really. The bottom line here is that an RBE actually embodies the fundamental teachings of all religions: compassion, forgiveness, equality, selflessness, my apologies, altruism, symbiosis. All these things lay at the very foundation of all religious and philosophical ideologies. And that is the point. Get to the grassroots. Find what really works. Outgrow all the dogma and stratification and all this bullshit, and just go with what truly benefits all humanity. Okay, question 8. How come neither the Zeitgeist Movement or the Venus Project have a concrete transition plan? I would like to hear what you have to say about this, since you seem to be all talk and no word on exactly how we're going to arrive in this resource-based economy. Okay, well, put simply, it can't. The transition from a monetary system to an RBE can't be defined in detail as how it will or should happen. There are just way too many variables involved. I mean, we have, 7 billion people? Probably over 7 billion people on this planet now. Think of the gravity that collective social and psychological experiences have on a cultural and societal level. It's not just that, but also the environmental elements that come into play. With this formula of uncontrollable fluidity and interconnectivity, you cannot lay down any sort of concrete plan, because that would just be being dogmatic, after all, wouldn't it? I mean, we can't say that, 100 people have to work in that particular field and build that certain building, then a tsunami comes along, wipes everything out, or some other natural disaster happens. That just knocks everything out of whack, doesn't it? If you have a concrete plan and a tsunami comes along, so much for the concrete plan. The world is an emergent and holistic system, and we as a society need to be also. For that reason, the transition will be whatever it will be. We can do what we can to steer things in the direction we want, but we can't dogmatically write up an immovable plan that will be set in stone. That's not how we move forward. We're aiming to outgrow dogmatic thought. You've got to keep in mind that what we're aiming for has never been done in the history of mankind. Humans have never known or collectively strived for this kind of economic system as fervently as this, ever. Okay, just give me a moment, I've just got to take a sip of water. Sorry about that. Okay, question 9. How long would it take to transition into a resource-based economy? Well, how long is a piece of string? That's really the best answer I can give you, really. Because you see, no one can give an accurate, and or concrete answer to that, really, because it solely depends on the progression of the population's awakening to this idea. When it comes to timescale factors, then as far as I'm concerned, we only have about maybe 15 to 25 years, to push for this before the economy starts showing real desperate and obvious signs of collapse and degradation. You see, we want to move into this resource-based economy before any of this chaos becomes a reality. None of us in the movement wants collapse. However, we recognize that it is in part necessary to, smack society upside the head hard enough to wake people up. Well, I wouldn't say wake people up. People just need to be educated and realize, that they're sitting in a sinking ship. What will make a difference is what you are prepared to do to push for this as fast as humanly possible. Familiarize yourself with the materials and information that is available for free. Become learned in our materials and other materials that prove the empirical nature of this direction. Spread this knowledge to other people you know, family, friends, acquaintances, random people you meet at the bus stop. However you can. When you have spare time, perform random acts of research, learn of many topics and the elements of our world and the universe that will expand your awareness and intellect, expand your knowledge. In fact, be thirsty for knowledge. You see, just knowing about our materials is one thing. However, you can also back it all up with supporting information from other sources as well. We have a wealth of knowledge right at our fingertips with the internet. Use that freedom and love to learn. This is probably the best means to accelerate our transition. Technologically, we can do this today. We can attain. Well, attain is probably not the best word. We can. Well, you know what I mean. We can do this today. I mean, hell, we could have moved into an RBE decades ago. The problem is not having the technological means to do this. It's more a case of the value systems we have to deal with. As Jacques says, it's not about the technology. It's about a way of thinking. I was going to say state of mind. Sorry about that. But as a society, we are just simply not ready. As George Carlin said, we are barely out of the jungle on this planet, and that is true. But we can do certain things to help raise realization. But so to sum up, the time it takes to make an RBE a reality completely depends on how willing you are to make it happen. As Jacques Fresco said, if you do nothing, I guarantee you nothing will happen. Question 10. Hey Adam, I was wondering what the punitive and justice system would be like in a resource-based economy. Okay, the answer to this is simple. There will be no punitive and justice system eventually. This is not to say that there won't be some form of educational and social rehabilitation for offenders, during the transition. There's always going to be problems on some level, but the idea of a resource-based economy is in part about streamlining and optimizing values, methods, and technology. The interest and intention is to culminate societal values and hence mature human behavior to the point that there will be no propensities for committing such crimes, and therefore eventually no need for laws or any system of punishment. To paraphrase, we wish to create an environment which dramatically lowers the rewards for such crimes, the inclinations for such crimes, the opportunities for such crimes, and just lower and hence lower the necessity for any kind of punitive or justice system. As long as we live in a world built upon scarcity, you will always have crimes such as theft. Okay, that is a given. There is no evidence to suggest that human beings will still steal to get what they need to survive in a system where they already have inherent access to what they need to survive. And that's the point. Our current system is based upon acquisition through monetary possession. Okay, an RBE is based on access, and there's the difference. Question 11. How would an RBE solve the issue of overpopulation? Would there be population control measures put in? It's a good question. Overpopulation has always been an issue for quite some time now. Certain coercive methods have been, tried, by China, for example. However, none of them have got to the root cause of the matter. The root cause is that we have this value that we can continually pump out kids, and there will always be enough to go around for everyone. Well, one thing has remained a constant: the underlying fact that the planet cannot sustain an ever-growing population that exists with a perpetual growth and consumption economy. This value, for the most part, has come from the Christian value of "be fruitful and multiply." Well, to quote Peter Joseph, I would respond to that with, "Yeah, great. Who's going to take care of them?" You see my point. This Christian value was forced upon us a long time ago, and I'm sad to say that it has imprinted itself in our very culture and values, and as a result, the act of wanton procreation brings certain rewards, be it monetary. Where I come from, for example, in the southeast, women will actually be able to claim more child support benefit payments